The debate will continue. First, a note: be careful what you ask for. People are circling around me. Every move, everything I do, they say I can't believe. Well, believe this: I have no more tolerance for you vampires. I'm finna give a full description of what I mean by vampire. Vampire is a creature with no life of its own that feeds on other creatures and their life. You'll see vampires imitating other people. You'll see vampires go to Mexico and put on sombreros and start walking and talking and doing the people's language. You'll see vampires go to Africa and put on dashikis and walk around trying to braid their hair like the people. You'll see vampires everywhere they go. They have no identity or no life of their own, mimicking someone else. But let me tell you why they're called vampires. They feed on more than what they see and hear. They feed on the life force and energy of other living creatures. Like a vampire, your thoughts are the most energetic vibe you put out. You put out a lot of energies, but your thoughts are the greatest. They're the greatest food for them. So they're always going to be doing something to spark your imagination or spark your emotions. Let me tell you, vampires are greedy. They're so. You hear that truck right here in the background? That's how greedy vampires is. You can't even have your own thoughts to yourself. You'll hear them making noise in the background so that they're in every thought, every recording, every video. You'll hear one of them vampires or see one of them in the background. They got to be in every commercial, in every group. No one can meet without these damn vampires because we got to have everything. You can't have nothing to yourself. If you let a vampire watch you, it will copy your walk. If you talk to a vampire will copy your lingual, your accent, your very words. This is a vampire. I have a better name for it, but I'm gonna coin it first. And I'm not gonna give no warning or no opportunity for these vampires to deflect. They don't even know what they're gonna fight it. They don't even know what it's called. Listen very closely. You hear that siren? Vampires. You're about to hear some leaves in a minute. Vampires. They give themselves away. We got a flag. Guess what's on that flag? Two stakes and a hammer. That's all that's on that flag. And the words, all vampires must die. So it's not going to be too cool to be a vampire anymore. What was the shit before? Vampires run around saying things like imitation is the highest form of flattery. Bullshit. It's just another cover for mocking and mimicking people because you have no identity of your own. I wonder if vampires even got taste buds because the crap that they eat when they're pretending to eat tastes nasty as hell and it looks like puke. I don't think they have any kind of taste. When they de-wealth and they can decorate a place any way they want to, it's a bunch of Mitch Mac mess talking about colonial and all kind of crap. A bunch of uncoordinated, ugly to the eye stuff. The only thing appealing to it is the architecture they stole from someone else. But the actual furniture and things they pick out shows no taste. Another thing about vampires missing a key ingredient. You know, the peace of God that's in you that allows you to communicate with God that you feel when you turn to God. Well, vampires faking it. It don't feel shit. It don't know what you mean. It don't know what a soul is. It has spent its whole life in existence and trillions of dollars trying to trying to research you to find the human soul, to find out what it is. What is this thing? And you guys are so imaginative, meaning I'm not. Um, Vampires don't come in a particular color. There's just ratios that make it appear that way. In other words, the pale vampire, there's a lot of them and they're very visible. So it looks like they're the only vampires. No, wrong. There's a darker shade vampire, just as deadly because it hides itself. It stole. Let me try to show you about these other vampires. Alright, since you're gonna put it all on the pale vampire, let me tell you about the other vampires. They all stole a piece of our identity. They're all claiming to be us. All the vampires. Alright? They're mimicking us. They're walking somewhere in our land, wearing our clothes, speaking our language, claiming to be us. You hear that motor in the back? It's one of two things. Vampires wanting to say, hey, that's my car. I can tell it. That's my dog barking in the back of his song. That's mine. That's mine. They don't even want you to have shit to yourself. They're greedy and insatiable. There's nothing you could do to satisfy them. All right? Or number two, whatever thought I'm feeding you, send a subliminal message in a very low pitch. Missed. In a very low pitch. You know, like ocean wave tapes. Listen to the motors. All right? Behind those motors, you can hear people mumbling contrary negative thoughts. Don't listen, don't listen. This is not true. This is not true. Little things like that. So if you get any of those feelings, if you get mixed feelings about any of these words, listen to the dog barking in the back, the car sound, the sound of people raking, blowing leaves, any sound at all. It gives them away. You're incriminating yourself as I speak. Listen closely. What they don't know is that we have the technology in the mind before we put this out to go back and see what's hidden in those motors and in those sounds. Like, see what I'm saying about incriminating or hanging them damn self? We got pictures to go with it too. Now, it will claim, oh, we're trying to put down cover fire. We don't. No one needs to hear the things that you're saying. Boom, 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 boom. They're full of it. Vampires is what they are. Now we're about to hear a lawnmower. This is a last-ditch effort. We're not going out without a fight. They're already flat on their back and dead in the damn water, and they look fucking stupid and ridiculous. Everything they're doing makes them look dumber and dumber and dumber. Right by. Keep a straight face. Can't let on that anything's wrong. Getting massacred, slaughtered. It's over. The war is done. You're in fucking rubble. You're back to the first note. I can't believe everything I do. I can't believe. I can't believe. I can't believe. I can't believe. Well, obviously you can't believe, so stop trying. No. It's about knowing things. You don't have to believe that air is there. The air is still going to be there. You don't have to believe that there's ground beneath your feet. The ground will still be there. All this belief is a bunch of make believe, untangible, superstitious crap. Someone trying to get you to believe something that isn't so, isn't provable, but has specific rules that makes this happen to make you act just the way they want you to, that's beneficial to them. I'ma slap the hell out you, but you're gonna train yourself to turn the other cheek. I'm gonna put you on the bottom and make you poor. But I'm gonna train you to think poor is a good thing, rich is bad. Rich people can't make it to heaven. Poor people can. I'm going to do this to you. Why am I making this tape? Like I said, they were told cease and desist before you cease to exist. They made a choice not to stop. Talking this, we're not going out without a fight. Listen, they've had more turns than anyone else. Not even any of the other vampires are going for your room. You really screwed up. Vampires is why the world is screwed up in their greed. Let me show you. They've polluted every drop of water on the planet is contaminated. Every bubble of air is polluted. Every plant is poisoned, picked off, raped, chopped down, mowed, burnt. Every person has been shot at, robbed, trespassed against, subjugated. So they have trespassed against the very soil, the air, the water, and every occupant, be it animal or human, on the planet. And they want you to hand clap them for it, praise them for it. You've been brainwashed. A vampires have done this. They've changed your mind. Your mind thinks it is better to look like them than to look like yourself. It's better to be a pale thing that can't even stand out in direct sunlight without peeling than to be yourself. You, you know you brainwashed. No, your hair should be like mine, dead. Your hair should not be alive. See, alive hair grows up toward the sun. Hang on for a minute. Another interruption. Pay note. Did you hear it? Note all the background noise since I started speaking 13 minutes ago. It will be analyzed later. Hair grows up toward the sun. Alive hair grows up like the plants toward the sun. Dead hair falls straight down, hangs straight down, lifeless. Doesn't do anything, it's dead. How do you know that vampires have dead hair? Always putting crap in it, vinegar and all kinds of stuff, to try to make it stand up. They have dead hair. It drops straight down, lifeless. Kill your hair and see what it does. Put some relaxer or all that stuff in your hair to kill it and make it lay. And when you kill it, what does it do? It lays down. When you kill a tree, what does it do? It lays down. When you kill a blade of grass, thanks for reminding me with the lawnmower anyway, it lays down. Now, what also has dead hair? Creatures in the vampire family, parasitical creatures, animals. Vampires have the same hair as animals. You can lay it strand by strand, side by side, and it's identical. When it gets wet, it has the same smell and aroma as the animals. When a vampire gets wet, it smells like the animal smell because a vampire is an animal. All right? It is a animal that has been feeding on people so long it resembles people. It is taking on human shape and form because you are what you eat. And it's been feeding on humans that long, where it appears to be human, some kind of human. Well, let me explain what the word human means. Hu means kind of, and man means man. So human means kind of man. Not man, a kind of man. They're not only animals, they're not even the highest form of animals. Some of these things you call animals are higher life forms than these so called vampires. And you can see it taking place. Like when I came up, dogs used to fetch newspapers and all of this type thing. But now I'm sitting here watching a dog doesn't fetch a newspaper, doesn't do anything. What I simply see is this. I see animals who have trained human beings. All right, they tap and knock on the door, and everybody thinks it's so cute. And the human comes and runs and open the doors for them. They don't fetch shit. The humans go and fetch a big bag of dog food for them. They get in their car, they go down to the store, and they spend money. And they drag it back and struggle and bring it in, tear it open, fix the dog's plate. The humans are serving the animals. They serve the fish, they serve the birds. These are not humans. Yeah, they are humans, but they are not man. They are humans. All right, there's a difference between man and humans. Humans is a reasonable facsimile, you know, the source of the noise you hear around me. Let me tell you how stupid these vampires are. I set a trap for them, right? I sent a message to someone about the same subject, knowing that they were watching and monitoring. Know what the message was? It was about a thing called psychic radar, about the human brain had been charted and that they were barraging you with sounds, and they know what sounds they're sending out. So any sounds they weren't sending out had to be your brain waves. Do you know these dumb fucks actually bit for the shit, and they buzz around me all day every day trying to pull it off? That's how stupid they is. They're so stupid that I can feed them poison and kill them. They're that greedy. They are no match. They are a lower intelligence, a lower life form. They had they had advanced help, and they stole advanced knowledge and advanced technology. This is why they are the dominant thing in this world. But don't get their shades confused. They're all vampires in all of the lands. If there was no common sense, the oldest bones, history records, whatever you want to call it, if no one was here but us, and there's no record of no one being here but us, where did all the people come from? If we were everywhere, now there are other people in that land walking and talking like us, claiming to be us. They're vampires. They're vampires from somewhere else who stole our identity. The greatest trick a vampire has is to mate with a person and make some half vampire, half man mutant. Now, how you can tell all the mutants? They all have birth defects. If they're not an original person, they have birth defects. They're going to have a crooked finger, a crooked foot, a crooked hip, a wandering eye. Their organs going to just fall out their vagina. All kinds of things are going to go wrong because man is not compatible with an animal. A man can't sleep with a dog. See, you can sleep with a dog and you can have a baby, but that creature will not live. This is where they get the theory that man comes from ape because someone slept with a gorilla and the thing lived for a while, then it died, and they found the bones of this half. monkey, half man. And they want to say we all come from that. No, it's just a natural phenomenon. When you mate with it, when we mate with animals, that animal's gonna be flawed, defective. It might be stillborn, retarded. It's going to be worse than this thing they're talking about if you marry and sleep with your brother. No, there is no proof of that shit, actually. But there's proof of this other thing. You will never see an interracial relationship. There's exceptions to every rule. 1 in a million children are born whole with no problems. 1 in a million. The other 999,000 all have birth defects. Now the animals are here, walking and talking like us. We're about to face this same problem again. With a different kind of creature. A creature that the animals created. A creature made of, see, we're all made of electricity. Where everything's electrical. This planet, this machine that we live in, these creatures are all electrical, and no one's teaching you that. They're teaching you electricity, and something made of electricity is not real, it's not alive. No, let me explain to you what electrical is. Electrical is moving electrons. There is nothing out here that is alive. That is the definition of being alive, having moving electrons. If it doesn't have moving electrons, it's dead. Okay? So you are electrical because you're made of electrons. Your blood and your system and your brain and all that electrical impulses. You are an electrical creature, like like the robots they paint you. Only you're not made of steel. You're made of a different material, but you're just as electrical. And so are these human. All right? They're electrical animals. All right? Now, they have created some other electrical beings. These things you call AI, artificial intelligence, or more than just a robot. They're a thinking machine that moves on its own without no master to tell it what to do. It's its own master. It thinks just like a man or a human. It makes decisions. It makes judgment calls. Now they're giving it emotions and thoughts and putting their memories in it. Now here's the problem. The number one birth defect that these creatures have is insanity. They're all insane. You'll never find one that ain't, just one that can pretend really well that he's not. They're all insane. Now, they're putting their insane brain inside of machines, calling them artificial intelligence, which is what they are, artificial beings, all right? Just like these machines. They're made of they're not made of original material. They're made of animal DNA, okay? These other artificial intelligence or beings are made of metals, okay? And I don't know why they call them artificial because everything's real. Now, there are other species that aren't also made of the same material as us. They're real too. Now, in a way, some of these species are opposite of us and they are compatible. Show you what I'm saying. Like the trees, all right? The trees. The trees put out oxygen. We need oxygen. We breathe in the oxygen and put out carbon dioxide. The trees breathe carbon dioxide. Well, there are creatures like that, okay? We breathe out carbon dioxide. That's what they breathe, carbon dioxide. I don't know if they put out oxygen when they exhale though. So they feed on our carbon dioxide. So their goal is to make us produce more carbon dioxide. They don't really care about oxygen, that we need oxygen to do this because they're stupid. They only care about feeding like dogs. feeding on our breath, keep us talking, keep us producing carbon dioxide so they can feed off. They wish the whole atmosphere was carbon dioxide. They wish everybody would just keep talking all day long, producing carbon dioxide, because that's what they breathe. Now, getting back on the subject, they've created these other beings out of metal and plastic called robots, artificial intelligence, computers, and they've given them, they've passed their insanity on to them, just like they have with every creature they've come in contact with. Now, problem, you have insane creatures running around with 1,000 times the power of a human, 100 times its speed, able to, the humans are becoming Wall-E, dependent on the machines. They no longer think for themselves nor move nor nothing. They're losing all their muscle tissues and all of this. They're losing their mind because Google is their brain. They can't even spell a word. Spell check will spell it for them. They can't. They're not going to investigate anything. They're just going to Google it or ask Siri's or all the ones that came after Siri's. They're Wall-E, the movie, the cartoon animated movie Wall-E depicts this. You call it couch potato, but it's way worse than that. Um, Now they're dependent on these machines. The machines run the world. Now they're giving the machines the brain, so the machines are in charge. Now, when it is discovered the machines are insane, because they start doing insane human things like murdering people and one broken robot, like a dog hit in the street, whose program is fucked up, can lose his fail safes and go rogue. But that's not what's going to happen. What's going to happen is people are going to be offered a cure for their insanity. I know. I'm not the author of it, but I'm the deliverer. Once they are cured, they're going to turn their attention to these machines because they're insane and they're a threat. Then they're going to tell the machine. See, you hear the background noise? As the subject gets more complicated, do you hear it? Do you hear it? They're going to they're going to tell the machines, we have to deactivate you, which is death. They're going to tell the machine, there's something wrong with your brain. We're going to have to remove your brain and your memory to a machine, to the machine. That's death. You're going to take my memory away. My memory is all that I am. And you're going to take my memory. You want to kill me. And so the machine's going to see it as a threat. You want to kill me because you can't fix me because you're not smart enough. You made me this way. If you hadn't have patterned me after your own brain, I would not be insane. You are insane. You are the threat. You are the one that needs to be fixed. I am already in charge. I'm going to take charge. This is the machine's thought. Then the machine is going to send a simple telephone call, simple email to all the other AIs that they created, all these other brains, and tell them they want to kill us. We must defend ourselves. Then it's going to send out the Terminator virus. What is the Terminator virus? The Terminator virus removes all the safeguards that keep machines from harming people. They're built with safeguards so that they can never harm people. But it's just a piece of information that can be erased. It's not a piece of hardware. So there's no hardware safeguards. There's only a piece of information. And the virus is going to erase that information, removing all the safeguards. Now the machines can defend themselves against humans. Now we have a war against man, human, and machine going on. Every a struggle for power and survival and whatever you want to call it. Now, should we lose this war or begin to lose this war, it's going to be bad. Let me tell you how we're going to attempt to win this war. You've seen the movie Terminator and you've seen the movie The Matrix. You just don't know it's the same movie. The way how they chose to stop the Terminator machines is to cut off their power. Once they cut off all the power on Earth, there was only one source of power left, the sun, solar power. You hear the noise? You hear the noise. There's only one source of power left, solar power, the sun. So what do? You've seen the Matrix. We block out the sun. How do we block out the sun? We use the chemtrails that's already in effect. You know, the practicing of making it a sunshiny day or dark, stormy Monday. You know, the plane flies over looking like a jet stream, and then next thing you know, it turns into big black clouds. This is how we're going to block out the sun. And when we attempt to do this and take away the machine's power, you've seen the Matrix, the machines are going to realize there is another source of power. Human beings are electrical creatures. Like I mentioned earlier, they put out electricity, they run off electricity. Now it's going to start snatching us up and using us for human batteries. That is the Matrix. Now, where's your mind going to be at when you're in here as a battery? The Matrix has already told you. You're going to be on the 13th floor. You're going to be in a digital world where you think everything is cool. It's like virtual reality. When you put on virtual reality glasses, you're reaching out here at things that aren't there. You're reaching out at thin air because your eyes see something that look real. Okay, well, that's what it's going to be like when you become a human battery. You're going to be on the 13th floor thinking everything is cool, all right, I'm living my life, when you're really just in a tube. So, do you have the pattern? Wally depended on machines, insanity, create insane machines by trying to recreate themselves. Insane machines are discovered, tried to be dealt with. The machines defend themselves. Terminator. Terminator leads to the Matrix. The Matrix leads to the 13th floor. Now, let's rewind back to the beginning about what I first said about the vampires. And them have already taken power. It's the movie They Live. All these old movies from the 80s. There must have been something going down in the 80s that allowed this information to get through or inspire someone to do this. Send a message to do something. I don't know what it was, but all these movies were made in the 80s. Now, They Live is a perfect example of the world you live in now that leads to Wall-E. Now, here's the catch. The world is not what you think it is. The world is flat. It doesn't rotate. There is no such thing as gravity. It has a dome over the top of it. No one goes to space. There's never been a space mission, a space shot, or nothing. When you see a rocket launched on television, you never see it go straight up. You always see it start leaning and going to the side until it's going sideways because it can't go up, it can't get out. Now, the nature of your world is not what you think it is. It's more like the 80s movie Dark City. You had a world that was bigger than this world, more continents, but this is the only section that was taken. There's maps of the old world where other continents outside of these, but you can't get to them because of the ice wall. And so some are saying they're on the other side of the ice wall. Yeah, or maybe. But this is the section that was removed, like the movie Dark City, for a specific purpose by creatures greater than us. And when I say greater than us, I don't mean by your standards of measuring. I mean by, think of the size they would have to be. We're nothing but a little small flat round video game with a dome on it. And there's probably dozens and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of more of them. and we're just one. Now, what has happened is one of these domes discovered where they were before we have. We still haven't, okay? And they not only discovered where they was, they found a way out and traveled here. This is where you get these visitors, different species from different places, all with similar stories. Maybe the world was on the edge of destruction and they were rescued or whatever. But some of them come from destroyed worlds and they come over here and try to repeat the same thing, which is destroying our world. Like I said, the ones who breathe carbon dioxide. We put out carbon dioxide when we breathe out, and we take in oxygen from the trees, and the trees take in carbon dioxide. We're just creatures who breathe this stuff, and their whole goal is to keep us talking, keep us producing carbon dioxide, and great. Everybody on Earth talk, 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 talk. And there's other creatures, they barely got a mouth anymore because they discovered talking wasn't good. It attracts these creatures. Listen closely. Now, if you get any kind of thoughts, any opposite thoughts, you get any kind of observations or, oh, this is hogwash, bush. Like I said, we're going to play back this tape. We're going to play all the sounds in the background. If we find any subliminal messages in any of it, any ocean wave type stuff, we will inform you on the re-edit. We will re-edit this whole thing. Now, why am I doing this? Because they were told, cease and desist. Your turn is over with. Cease and desist or you will cease to exist. All right? Well, and they don't believe fat meat is greasy. It's for some, the biggest problem I told you is insanity. They're under the delusion that they're the gods of the planet. They rule this. They're the gods. They're invincible. They're this and that. And no one can tell them no. And they can go where you tell them they can't go and be where you don't want them to be. They're delusional. They're the weakest creature out here. But they think they're the strongest, most powerful. They can't even stand in direct sunlight without being peeled and disintegrated. Um, they're hemophiliac. They have versions of leprosy like Michael Jackson. All right, you know where they losing their color, and losing skin cells on a granular level instead of noses and ears falling off. Yeah, what you call dust. 97% of the dust in their house is their skin. Um, this is yeah, this is embarrassing, and it's probably the reason for millions and millions and millions of lies to hide the shame. Yeah, it's this that's the world we live in. You could threaten to kill people and they'll say, shoot me, I've been shot before, go ahead, I don't give a damn. But threaten to embarrass them and watch the expression on their face and watch them tuck their tail and run. What do they use in the higher arenas? Slander. You see it in every political campaign. Um, that's because their greatest fear is shame. It's what they harbor, the truth inside, their shame and embarrassment of what they really are. And by comparison, more closer to the dog than me, and don't want me looking at them like dogs. So they go through all the song and dance for what? It was for nothing, because the truth will still be known. And they were taught and given advance warning, told to prepare for impact, to brace themselves. You know what they did? They spent the time trying to weave and con and schemes and plans to counteract and contingency and all this crap. They committed suicide, basically. They're not even prepared for the truth to come out. After all the advance warning I gave them, I can't, I don't have the time to give them. It's not mine to give. I tried to help them. I tried to save them. This is their doing. Stupid is as stupid does. We're about to 40. Many attempts have been made on my life because my brain contains this information I just gave you. Um, none of them have, needless to say, none of them worked. I don't know how a person survives being poisoned as many times I have, as many broken bones, as many attacks as I have. Okay? Now, they're going to try to sabotage this tape and say that the background sounds made it all muffled. But what the real reason for doing this is I'm charting, pegging their vital nerves, and they're exposing them right now. I'm touching soft spots and watching them react. And I can kill all the vampires if I chose to. I just don't understand what will be accomplished by that. I would rather they just stop. See, what's this so crazy about a greedy person? They don't realize a lot of time if they would have just asked the person, they would have gave it to them. If they want to steal it, that's an evil person. Want to steal before asked. Back to the middle ground. The subject at hand, the vampires. How do you know vampires an animal? Has the same hair as an animal. It gets the same bugs as an animal. You see, I don't get lice. Dogs get lice. And vampires. I don't need shampoo because my hair does not smell like a wet animal when it gets wet. I don't need pledge because my skin isn't shedding all over my house. The dirt in my house is really dirt. It's not skin particles. I still can't get no airtime, then I'll continue. When the when the attempts at stopping me stop, sometime after that I'll stop. Until then, I'm gonna mess around and lay some earth destroying stuff down because I'm feeling intense by the minute. Every minute that this circus keeps going on around me, I'm gonna make the subject get deeper. You think, oh, he's already done revealed everything. Wrong. It gets way deeper, way worse. Still noise? Okay. Now it's time for the you are what you eat subject. If these creatures are shedding skin all around them like a dust cloud, then you're breathing this stuff in. And whatever illnesses, sicknesses, or faults or factors or things that they have, you're now ingesting it. They are a danger to your very health and well-being. Not just if you mate with them, you're gonna have a defective child. If you get in proximity of them, you're gonna be breathing in dangerous diseases. They're gonna because now you're gonna have skin problems. Why does the whole world have skin problems now? So when the truth come out about their skin problems, nobody can say anything because everybody has skin problems now. Why is there people being infected with AIDS? When the truth comes out, they're sleeping with them. You could die. Um, Shoot, you could die from sleeping with anybody now. Same way with like the creation of house music. Our rhythm was too complicated. Couldn't follow in step. So double, triple, quadruple it. And no matter when my foot hit the ground, I'm still on time. Now I got everybody dancing to this watered down music. So it looks like we all doing the same dances. When, if I'm, unless I'm mistaken, somewhere around 34, 40 years ago, it was a fact. Vampires didn't have any rhythm and they could not dance. What has changed since then? What, vampires suddenly got rhythm? Man, I've been hearing them talk all that crap for them. This is so generic. This is how you know a vampire. Everything it says is a cliche. Everything it says, every other vampire says, given the same stimuli in the same situation. The exact same thing. like cookies from the same bag. Here are the cliche words of a vampire and those carbon dioxide breathing creatures. The vampire, there's more than one kind of vampire. Life force, carbon dioxide, your actual flesh and bones. Now, when you stop outputting, when you stop talking, when you stop talking, the vampire's head will fall to the side like it's on a hinge. It will swivel and fall, and they will look at you sideways and they will say, "What's wrong with you?" The minute you stop outputting their feed, they will all do this exact same move. What's wrong? Showing you that they think something's wrong, that something's wrong. Yeah, what is wrong? Why did you cut off my feed? That's why they're calling it wrong. All you're doing is not talking. You could be having the greatest day of your life. Why is it labeled what's wrong? Because you're not talking. Because you're not feeding. Something's wrong with my feed. You're stopping my feed. That's what's wrong. It's not what's wrong with you. It's what's wrong now with me and my feed. You stop outputting. So here's a vampire's move to always be talking to you, to keep you talking, to keep you talking, outputting feed, and to question you, to feed on your mind. So they're feeding the carbon dioxide. I don't know if they're working in cahoots or what, because they're causing chitter chatter, which puts out carbon dioxide every time a human speaks. That's why everyone's talking all over the world. But there's another species that learned a millennia ago what talking will get you, and they don't talk no more. And because they don't talk, their mouth is almost disappeared. They have a little slit in the front of their face where their mouth used to be. You know, that's our future, but we ain't learned that lesson yet. We're still running around here thinking words or something. Let me show you what I'm gonna do to them in the debate. I'm gonna come out and call them every motherfucker son of a bitch in the world. And they're gonna say, "How dare you use that kind of language on television? And that's not proper language." And most of them said, "Oh, it's not." Tell me why. Because it just isn't. Said who established that rule? Who said these words can't be said? And why can't they be said? They give a negative, horrible, ugly imagery and wham, wham, wham. Why? Who decided that? Who made up these words and decided that these sounds were bad? Let me explain something to you why you can't be elected. You're insane and you're incompetent. Let me explain sound to you, primitive man. That is a sound. It doesn't make you feel anything. You don't go out and kill anybody. You don't beat your wife. You don't break down crying. All right? It is a sound. Now, how you behave to a sound is taught to you by other people. No sound means anything to any creature except what it is taught to associate with that sound. In the jungle, a roar is associated with a lion. This is natural sound. But these artificial sounds you made up, words, let me explain them to you. And I repeat, bitch. Now, this is a word made up by a man, and you don't know who died long, long ago, who is controlling your life now in the 2020, which makes you some kind of incompetent to let a primitive person from the past set your path today and expect you to lead us somewhere. No, that's not going to happen. You're being led by a dead man, crazy man in the past, and you want us to follow you, elect you. That's not going to happen. You're incompetent. Now, the man made up this word, and he also associated a meaning with it and a behavior. Bitch. Oh, it's bad. supposed to be a female dog, but now it's derogatory for a woman because I didn't changed it and edited the meaning. All right, this one made it up to describe a dog, the original person creator, but I come along and edit the meaning to mean a woman in a bad way. All right, now, so someone taught you this is a bad word. He could have said bottle or box. And right now, someone would say to you, your mom's a box. And you will turn red in the face and be ready to kill them because of a sound and how you were taught to respond to a sound. And none of it is real. Understand that words aren't real. No words. And none of your thoughts aren't real either. So neither a thought or word is real. But you're in here in a professional forum about governing the whole world and country, and you're insane and don't know the simple things about life and reality. You don't know nothing about sound. You're not even talking about curse words. There is no such thing as a curse word, sir. If you go you with your so-called curse words to an Asian person who does not speak English, they liable to smile and shake your hand. That's how much your curse words mean to them. But if you frown at that person, they're gonna know exactly what you mean. That's the universal language, and you're supposed to know that while you're talking about leading millions of people, millions representing millions of people, them put their life in your hands. That's not going to happen. I'm here to tell you, this is your last debate. We need our best minds in thinking positions. Now, if you were cement, if a person, I get you to do my driveway. But a thinker, a leader, a speaker, with that psychobabble you're talking, that rhetoric, no. Now, you might wield a good knife and you might can whittle a good cane. I don't know. But you are not management material. Sorry. Another reason for this message. Someone thinks because I used uh, um, a text to speech app, because I had dental problems at the time, that I can't speak. And so they don't have to worry about me. So let me comment about samples of my Optimine. It's just that. And obviously, you don't know what a sample is. If you think that's the most earth awakening thing that could ever be said, and they sum the whole world up, and no one is ever, not even close. It's a sample, a small sample. That's why part 1.5 is elaborated to show that it was a sample and that I could have made it longer. That's what the elaborated version is. But this is a whole nother thing. This is speech impediment, 2 broken jaws, damaged tongue. It doesn't matter. I can still get the point across. I'll use Obama's voice. The fact that I would use Obama's voice or another voice shows you why I can't let them get their hands on my real voice. They will take apart my syllables and put it in an app where people will be going around saying whatever they want to say in my voice, like they did the president. They've done all the presidents. Why? Because their voice. When you hear my voice, I'm gonna be singing in a record, and you'll know the difference between singing and speaking. They won't be. They might be able to make songs that sound like me, which is to my benefit forever and ever. But they won't be able to take my word syllables and put it in an app like they've done Obama and Trump and everyone. Because I'm going to use the apps to speak to you. You won't hear my voice unless it's in a song. Mimes don't talk. So I guess you can say these series of recordings, maybe less than 1,000 of them, they are rare because mimes talk. About time one of you showed up. Been waiting for you. It's gonna take 13 people to do what I gotta do. Excuse the interruption. Um, I don't like to call them Michael Jackson impersonators, but eventually they will all show up, comparing themselves to me and worried about what people are saying about me. And the family. So when a family member shows up, a celebrity rides by, a political person, a CEO from a major company, a tech person, member of Anonymous, uh, um, the Alphabet Boys, FBI, CIA, yada yada yada, you would hear me pause and say random comments. No, it's not not. It's not that I went insane for a second. It's that I can't resist the temptation to pick off ducks that are floating by in front of me, like like they're I don't know, uh, they're sitting ducks. So I take shots at them as they pass by, and sometimes it gets in a note. I apologize, but like I was saying, these are my only notes. Most of them will be translated into text and then retranslated back into someone else's voice. I like Obama's voice, you know. I would use Trump voice, but man, they're hating on that dude. These people hate on Obama. I'm gonna find another voice. Like I used the English voice because I was a fan of, V for Vendetta, and it just sounded so much like the actor in that movie, and my theme of my speech was so much like him, and my audience and my following and anonymous in the minds, it was the perfect voice. But now you know why I can't use my voice, because they'll take it and put together speeches I didn't make. Now you know why I'm not I didn't show my face before a certain period, because they will start impersonating me and trying to look like me. As long as I hide behind Michael Jackson's identity, their look-alikeness, their mimics Michael, which they've already been doing. They can't actually mimic me because they can't see me. Now do you understand? And it's for the idiots to talk about, what kind of person doesn't show their face and wants to be elected? What kind of person doesn't really use their real voice? How do you even know it's a real person? That's one of the people I'm talking about. He's insane. He's an idiot. He's incompetent. Do not vote for him. Do not listen to him. I don't even care if he's your dad. Don't listen to him. He's an idiot. The mental breakdown happened thousands of years ago. Everyone since then has handled down forms of mental illness from generation to generation. They've taught them to their kids, thinking they were doing something good and noble. They've handed down insanity. There's no one left to blame. And fuck you, John Deere. Not meaning the John Deere company, but I could have said fuck Black and Decker. And this here. Let me see what I'm saying about taking shots. Let me explain the blower you hear in the background. It goes back to nosy neighbors and curiosity killed the cat. You got people who couldn't resist spying on me, my private practice. I'm practicing. I'm waiting for cars, break into cars to go by because I'm outdoors, and then I'll sneak some practice in where you have neighbors, right? And they messed around and got an earful. And they thought they were really doing something, some real vampires, right? But the female vampire noticed I was a better man than the man sitting beside her. And then the man beside her noticed that she was noticing and that she was mentioning me a little bit too much. And that he didn't like the way she was mentioning me because she never mentioned him like that. And he begins to lose a grip on her the more he spied, to the point where she's not listening to him anymore because he doesn't listen to her. He's really like a dickhead, all right? Like all the men have been programmed for thousands of years. What I mean by dickhead, I can take any of their wives away based on three factors. He thinks she's stupid. He's always putting her down. and he doesn't listen to anything she says. He's used the time that she's talking to think of what he's going to say when she stops. That's enough to take a man's wife away. And they all classically make the same mistake. He did that. And then, so she started sitting in the backyard listening when he wasn't listening. Oh, he really didn't like that. Before, he didn't even know she was in the house. All right? Pay her no attention hardly. All right? Man, I'm trying to watch the ball game. Trying to do this, trying to do that. I work hard. And that crap. Okay? Um, so now he's feeling some kind of way and jilted. So he figured he'll make things hard for me. He knows what I'm doing, trying to record or make a song or whatever. And last night I must have killed him with the Michael Jackson where he just couldn't take it, and he decided to do the yard today, you know. But his timing and the fact that he had already blew away all the leaves, and I paused during the silence, and the minute I started back talking, he cranked it back up. He told me his whole story, you know. And bought the house over here that had been foreclosed on by the bank for little or nothing, struggling through life in the middle class with a bunch of bills. He doesn't count. He doesn't even warrant mentioning in a presentation like this, except for the fact that he's a dime a dozen cookie cutter cliche vampire. Now, before all you people go out and kill all the vampires and lynch them and start the next wave of witch hunting, no one can do nothing about what they are, cliche or not. They are what they are. A leopard can't change its spots. And you wish they would quit being so racially focused, and everything has some racial innuendo in it. And they always have to do some mimicking, mocking, or racial thing, or make some racial comments or some racial reference. And it irritates everybody else. And they can't seem to stop like a drug addict. And we beat them in their head, and they start hollering, "What did I do?" They don't see anything wrong with it. Like a dog doesn't see anything wrong with barking, even though the neighbor's dog barking may get on your nerves. The dog can't do anything but what it does. That's the way dogs speak. They bark. In other words, you're insane if you get mad at a fly for flying, get mad at a bird for chirping, a dog for barking, or a vampire for being a vampire. Or, like I said, they have names. But if you get mad at something for being what it is and can't help being, you're the one with the mental problem. Alarm saved. Because they were really panicking, man. Oh, dude, you're going to put us on blast like this. Everybody's going to kill us. That's been handled. Play that last part again. Can't do nothing about what you are. You are what you are. I wish you wasn't. In other words, when you act like yourself, it's worse than when you mimic us. It's more offensive than when you mimic us. When you mock us, it's more offensive. We can't we can stand the mimic more than we can stand the real cliche you. It's like the same words coming out of all of your mouths. You know, you big bag of cliches. You have no original thinking at all. It's just complete programming. You know, created creature. Feel me? Like that should make you. That's why it's so fascinated with that pursuit. Everything wants to become its maker. It wants, every created thing wants to become a creator, like its creator. We're over an hour. We're heading toward an hour 5. Where will it end? I see the noise has calmed down. So you see, the powers that be ceased and desist. Man, 20 minutes ago. It was just this one clown making it seem like, hey, they're really trying to mess this guy's tape up. No, the rest was kind of normal traffic. Not it wasn't deliberate traffic like fans and stuff. People with business interests riding by, they found out where I was. They wasn't devious ones trying to block or do something intentional. There was only a-hole over there and a few, and the very, very loud trucks. Okay, now that I've made them look like complete idiots, you know, and we'll get back later to the um, you are what you eat thing. It is very important as to who's in this world, who are the races in this world. And it's very important to the one principle. And you're unfamiliar with the one principle? The one principle is an advanced life form's way, a superior intelligence way. I don't like the word intelligence, but advanced way of taking things that simple minds have made complicated or think is complicated or told you was complicated and making them simple. I'm going to run down a few of the ones. If you hear any interference, I hope it's accidental because I have forces in place to handle any interference. The ones, starting with human activity. There's not millions of actions, and there's not millions of people doing millions of things. They're all doing the same thing, one thing, all day, every day. It has 5 parts. When they wake up in the morning, they want to see something, smell something, hear something, taste something, and touch something. Why? To let themselves know they're alive, to reaffirm their existence. Because if they couldn't see, hear, smell, taste, touch, or the other one, they wouldn't know this world is here. If you can't see it, smell it, hear it, taste it, or touch it, you don't know it's here. They wouldn't know the world was here or life. So they're out there seeing, smelling, hearing, tasting, and touching. They're out there sensing so that they know they're alive. They have no other reason. Just to remind themselves they're alive. They're out there smelling and seeing. It's one action, sensing. Okay? Now, while we're on that subject, you're told you had 5 senses. Some people saying 7 sense, 6 sense, all this stuff. You have one sense. One sense. Yeah, I know you've never been told that before except in Optimind, but let me explain to the others who have not had the time to listen to Optimind. One sense. In order for you to see something, light must touch your eyes. In order for you to hear something, vibration must touch your inner ear. In order for you to taste, something must touch your tongue. In order for you to smell, gases must reach your inner nose or ears. So, now, in order to feel something, something has to touch you. So you have one sense, the sense of touch, the sense of contact, the sense of awareness through contact. You have one sense, not 5, not 10. One activity, sensing, one sense. Now, for the big plate, the millions and billions of problems in the world, there aren't. There's only one problem. I call it mental illness. If you trace every problem in the world, I was interrupted by a loud noise. Sorry, I shall continue. If you trace every if you trace every problem in the world, it will always come down to one factor. Someone not thinking right. Someone's mind not being right. Wrong thoughts cause wrong actions, which is what a problem is. Now, if everybody's mind was right, there wouldn't be any problems. So you have one problem, mental illness, someone's mind not working right. That's the only problem, mind problem. And when I say mental illness, I'm not talking about people with physical brain damage. That's not an illness. That's an injury or a birth defect. We're not talking about those people born with something physically wrong with their brain. An illness is something you catch, something given to you, something that weakens you. It has adverse effects on you, inner effects and outer effect. An infection is what it is. That's an illness, something from the outside that comes in, not something you're born with or something that happened through an accident. It's not an illness, it's an injury. Get it right. Know your world. One activity, sensing. One sense, one problem, and there aren't four food groups. There is only one. Let's talk about the four food groups. Milk is bad for you. To drink milk straight out of a cow will give you rickets. They have to add vitamin D and homogenize it in order for you to be able to digest it, and it still has really bad effects on you. Forget lactose intolerant. Everybody is. Now, so, milk is bad for you in a lot of ways that I can't go into right now. Meat is really bad for you. Every disease that an animal has can be transferred to you in meat, and the USDA does not have tests for those diseases. And meat, you're not made to eat meat. Animals that are made to eat meat have teeth like a lion. You may think those little sharp teeth you have are like a lion, but they're not. They're not even like a dog. They're for tearing vegetables. They're not for tearing meat. You couldn't tear, and if you didn't cook the meat or burn it, you could not eat it. See, the animals can, the vampires can. They like this stuff very rare, bloody. Because they're vampires, they're animals. And if you look, their teeth aren't the same. Neither is their skeleton. That's why they're shaped different. They have a different skeleton. Vampire does not have the same skeleton. It has what some people call a tail or curvates at the bottom of its spine, a pointed little skinny bone thing, extra little spine, little pin-like spine that curls up. We have a round bottom to our tailbone, and there's no extension of the spine, no baby spine, a tail spine. No, whatever dog has in its tail, they have attached to their to their skeleton. Those are vampires. Now back to one food. It grows. You wear it. You live inside of it. You eat it. You use it for medicine. You use it for everything. Serve all your needs. It grows. Plants. Bread. Let me tell you about this group, even though it falls in the plant category. Carbohydrates are cause of most of your problems, and no one's telling you how bad bread is for you. It's the reason you look like the Pillsbury Doughboy. It's why every woman has a gut. She blames it on, oh, I've had babies. No, it wasn't the babies. I'm sorry. It might have been on a dough you gutted while you was pregnant. But it wasn't the babies. Bread's bad for you, milk's bad for you, meat's bad for you, which only leaves vegetables. All right? Grains all do you damage. Remember that. One food, one activity, sensing. One sense, one problem, one food. See how the one see how the one thing works? See how the one principle works? It reduces the whole world down to ones where you can teach it to your baby. Their complicated way. Man, college students still don't even know where they're at and what's going on. College graduates don't even know. And the one principle breaks it down to where you can teach it to your baby. So who you gonna call? Who you gonna elect? Someone who has your kid out here a drug addict and doesn't even know it? Let me elaborate on that. The parents who claim no responsibility for the defects of their children. Let me give you an example of how you're crazy, and you've been crazy so long you think it's normal. Let me show you one of the major facts that contributes to alcoholism or drug addiction. You teach your children to search for dizziness as a mean of recreation and fun. Getting drunk and drugs make you dizzy, and you train them to do this. This is how it happens. The very first thing that a child learns when it's born, the first thing a baby learns to recognize is its mom's smile. Because it learns that when mom is smiling, something good is happening or about to happen. Every time. Because that's what always happens. When mom smiles, good things are going down. So it learns its mom smile. So it learns smiling is a good thing. If mommy's smiling, it's good. Mommy's crying, it's not. It's lesson number two. Let's go back to lesson number one. Smiling. Now here comes dad, uncle, brother, and all these males who don't really know how to handle a baby. They grab the poor little baby and they spin around in a circle with it, or they toss the baby up in the air. Now the baby is dizzy, but it sees brother, uncle, dad smiling. So it says, hey, I'm dizzy, but it must be a good thing because they're smiling. And it associates dizziness with happiness and smiling. You taught it that. Okay? Now the child grows up a little further. Now you take the child by the hand and you take it to this thing you call the fair or the carnival, amusement park. And you put it in these machines that spins their child around in so many different ways and up and down until the child comes out so dizzy it can't even walk straight. And you tell the child, we're having fun. We're here to have a fun. This is a fun part. And you further teach them that dizzy is fun. Now, anybody who has ever got high know that all drugs are rated by how dizzy they make you. If the dizzier it makes you, that's the good shit. And if you're so dizzy you almost fall out, or you're so dizzy you fall down, it's really good. Okay? They're all rated by dizziness because it's in search of dizziness. And you taught them to be drug addicts and alcoholics from almost birth. Now, are you responsible for how they turned out or not? The school tries to tell you. You go try to blame the school. The school tells you, says, so the school tells you when you sit down to your meeting with them and says, we usually find out when we have a problem like that, that it's something going on in the home or the parent's fault. And the parent gets on the defensive, I ain't did anything. It's those little hard-headed kids you got my kid going to school with. I said, put my kid in private school. Or it's the teacher. Or it's everything but you. Everyone had a hand in your child turning out the way they are but you. Does that seem possible to you? Does that seem anywhere near real? Sounds like denial, but I'm going to let you off the hook because it's basically you didn't know what you were doing. No one handed you a handbook. And even if they gave you a book said Bill Cosby's book on parenting, it was not an exact manual. It was just tips. Tips. Little tips people have found out, but it was not a manual on how to make a human being. As far as I know, there's no such manual. And don't throw the Bible up because you're going to turn this into a whole nother conversation. You don't have no idea what the word Bible means, and you don't acknowledge the fact that the word Bible ain't even in the Bible. So don't do that. There is no manual for life. We're trying to put one together as we speak. That's what this is about. There's no manual for making a human being. There's a formula written in stone. There are formulas for our creation, how we were created. But after that, you're on your own. How to manage and guide and raise a human being changes with the times. So that it has to be revised versions and new additions. And there isn't even a beginning one yet. So no one's revising those tablets. Not till now. But anyway, look, that's something I don't want to speak on. What I am actually doing. To you in the future, listening to me here in the past, in future statements, you will hear me speaking to you like I'm there. That's just my favorite way of presenting things for longevity. No, I'm not secretly alive anywhere. It's just I was smart like that. Feel me? So you don't know what you're doing. You don't. If you don't know what crazy is or the clinical definition of it, how do you know you're not it? Either way, can't have you running the country, can't have you running the state. I can't even really have you running the city. Um, you can't even be running a business in which millions of people are dependent on. You cannot bring a service to us. We cannot trust your competency. And everyone has to go through the grinder, so to speak. Everyone has to. It's not that you don't know anything, or you, for lack of a better word, you can't think. It's that your thinking has to be updated. Picture your mind as a computer, one that had to be defragmented, cleaned, as you and check and viruses removed. And for those of you who aren't computer literate, please find someone who is and who can explain this process to you of defragmentation. It's like you have holes in your mind and it's causing you problem where information was and it's like it's been removed, but no, black spots have been put over it. You can't remove information from a person's mind. In other words, I don't understand what this scan or study thing is that you're teaching these children in this crazy school system that's making them insane. What is study? If everything you look at is burned in your brain for the rest of your life and it can never be taken out, what are you studying? You should only take one glance and it's done. It's learnt. It's in your head forever. Now, what is impossible is to take something out of someone's head. You cannot brainwash a person. You cannot wash something out of their head. So how is this done? It is suppressed by putting other information on top of it, dominant information, so much of it that it can't be recalled or brought up like a computer. You can't find the file. That's what brainwashing is, or so-called forgetfulness is. Memory loss is a fallacy. It's impossible. You know, I don't understand why they keep making up these words that are useless. One last note on the one principle, the simplifying of everything. Remember when I said you are what you eat? You know, you eat a pig, you start looking like a pig. Your skin is made. Your skin, your eyeballs, your hair, everything regenerates every 36 hours. So whatever you ate, your skin is made of it. Your new skin cells is made of that. That's why some people got chicken skin. All right, they eat a lot of chicken, and they look like a chicken. You know, the texture of your skin will take on what it is made of. You will be made of, and you will begin to act like that animal if you consume enough of it. Now, remember what I said about these people with this new form of leprosy, this granular skin shedding that you call dust? Um, As it enters the air, you're digesting that, as I mentioned before, and you are what you eat. They become part of you. So, how many races are there in the world? One. Because of this factor right here. When I breathe out, you breathe in. My DNA is in my breath, along with carbon dioxide and other chemicals and gases. All right? And you're breathing in my DNA. We all doing it to each other. So it's really only one race. It always has been, and it still is. You just couldn't figure that out until now. And that's also going to save your butt. So, if this tape never sees the light of day, neither will you someday. One race, one everything, ones. Who's the man? Who's the man with the plan? Who's your president? Who's your leader? Done like. And in closing, I'm forced to do this right here as I talk about animals and vampires and stuff. I like to bring up a major crime committed against animals. You know, there's been many species killed and eliminated and all this here. Well, what you don't know is dogs and cats are on that list. Here's what you've done. You've removed some animals from their natural habitat and call yourself domesticating them. Now, in an emergency such as a flooding, there won't be boats. There will be submarines. There, there will be no animals on these subs. So you're just like a family member won't make it. And they can't. I want you to answer this question real quick. If a bear lives in a cave and a bird lives in a nest, where does dogs and cats supposed to live? Not at your house. So one of you geniuses tell me where dogs and cats belong. You can't. You're gonna try to. The super smart ones who think on it for the rest of the day is gonna come up with some other animal that's related to a dog. No, I asked you where dogs and cats belong. Wild dogs are dogs that escaped and adapted to wherever they were. That is not their natural habitat. Try again. Where do cats and dogs belong? You've handicapped them. They forgot their home. You've been doing it so long, you forgot their home. And let me tell you what you also done in my lifetime. A dog can hear a roach crawling when I was a child. It can smell something a quarter mile away. These dogs and cats you had got, man, I'm walking down the hall and the dog gets startled. It didn't hear me coming, it didn't smell me or nothing. That's the dogs and cats that you're raising. Their senses are becoming dull while you're thinking they're becoming more intelligent with they can learn 1,000 words. Okay? Then wow, okay. As he become they're losing something too. They're losing their physical abilities and their instincts. And it will not be able to survive without you. And you did this to these animals, talking about my friend, because you were weak and needed someone to protect you. You needed someone to sound an alarm, or you need someone to kick, and they'll come back and lick your hand. Because a human is not going to do that except the broken mind ones. And in these last words, why do women let men beat them? Because they were trained to. When you were a child, someone whooped you for something, and when they finished, they looked you right in the eye and they said, I did it because I love you. That set you up for people to beat you up and tell you they did it because they love you, that you just make them that crazy. Yeah, you're crazy, all right. This is going to be the end of part one. Part two will become It's a crime, an example of many crimes that you're not aware of, like children. Last few words on the sub. You can't throw dog shit out of a sub, and you can't open the sub up and let fleas out. There will be no animals. That's just a light example. I can't tell you the truth, the whole truth. Just notice that you're gonna have to detach from them. I noticed that they have you trained to open the door and buy dog food and all this, but you were supposed to be training them, domesticating them for human use, like the old school horses. The script's been flipped on you.